Hey, how's it going, Grace fam? Good to see you all this week, and I hope you all have been well. Just wanted to share something that's been on my heart this past week, going through the scriptures, a passage and a story that's been significant to me for years, actually. It's in Luke chapter 19, verses 1 to 10. It's a story of Zacchaeus. The story of Zacchaeus. I think that's a story that many of y'all may know, but it's one that's definitely been impactful for me. If you don't know it, essentially Zacchaeus is a story of a man who encounters Jesus. And this particular man is one that was a tax collector, which to the general public would be viewed as a very reprehensible and detestable individual. No one would like him, everyone would hate him, and no one would want to just associate with him at all. Because he got to his position as a tax collector through greed and through coercion and through intimidation. And so people are like, that dude is not a good guy. You know, everyone hates him. Let's just, let's be very, mean towards this dude. There's a lot of hatred and vitriol against this type of person. And so, against a tax collector. And so the same was true for Zacchaeus. So this is the life he lived, climbing up the social status ladder, within his rank as tax collector, to become a chief tax collector, and doing so at the expense of those around him. And this type of person, however, upon hearing that Jesus was traveling through his area, was so excited to see him. He was so excited to see Jesus. He's like, oh, I want to see this guy. And so he does a thing that for his culture is very shameful and something that a person in his position wouldn't be doing. He climbs a tree. He climbs a tree to see past the crowds so then he could see Jesus, because the crowds were not letting him through. They're like, oh man, look, Zacchaeus is coming here. We're not gonna let him through. This dude, you wanna see Jesus? Too bad, man. You shouldn't have taken advantage of me that one time. We're not letting you through. So the crowd blocked him off, but he climbs this tree to see Jesus. And upon seeing what Zacchaeus has done, Jesus himself looks at Zacchaeus, calls him by name, and says, tonight, I want to stay with you. I want to spend the rest of the night with you and just hang out with you at your place. And how does Zacchaeus respond to this? Excitement. He's like, what? Oh, you want to spend time with me? No one wants to spend time with me. All right, I'm coming down. And so he comes down off the tree. Jesus spends the night with him, and then the crowds are confused. They're like, what's going on here? Why is Jesus spending time with that guy? To which Jesus states at the very end of this, Zacchaeus is overjoyed and his life is transformed, because by the end of this he says, all the people I've defrauded, Jesus, I'm gonna give the money back. You've transformed my life. You've changed my life. And Jesus at the very end of this states that his goal, his mission, is to seek and save that which is lost. And so this story is very impactful for me in many ways. One of which being, first off, that when I look at this, I look at Zacchaeus, I see the type of man he is. What I really see is the heart of God towards these types of people, towards a person who is a sinner, towards a person who is, by all intents and purposes, a person who is worthy of condemnation. Zacchaeus was worthy of condemnation. He had actively defrauded and taken advantage of many people, and yet Jesus has a heart for him of love, compassion, and care. Again, he's not ignorant of who Zacchaeus is and what he's done, but he views him with a heart of love and compassion. And that to me is striking, because that shows to me the heart of God. That shows to me that God has a heart for people, all sorts of people, even people that society might say is, we don't associate with that type of person. We don't care for that type of person. Jesus does. And that's amazing and fascinating. And we see that that type of love and that type of care is transformative in the life of Zacchaeus. And which brings me to my second thought, is that when I look at the crowd, I think to myself, this is a question I ask myself, Is my heart towards those types of people, towards people that I view as reprehensible, towards people that I view as detestable, and like, oh, I don't really care for that type of person, is my heart towards that person like the crowd, or is it like Jesus? Because the crowd viewed Zacchaeus a certain way, with vitriol, hate, disdain, but that's not how Jesus viewed him. Jesus viewed him as a person who's lost, and treated him with compassion, saying, this person doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't understand just the degree of lostness that he's within, the state he's in. And Jesus seeks to move into this person's life and show him love. And so the question I ask is, when I see the crowd, is that my heart towards lost people? What's my heart? Do I have vitriol? Do I have anger? Do I have disgust? Maybe there's things in me that need to be looked at and analyzed, in that area. And so, third thing I think that sticks out in this passage to me is that I'm Zacchaeus. I'm the crowd. The people in this story, the crowd who's judgmental and kind of looking at Zacchaeus like, oh, look at that guy. We don't like him. Sometimes I'm that way, right? I can see that in my heart if I'm honest with myself. And then the second thing, looking at Zacchaeus, I see that in Zacchaeus is a man looking for fulfillment, looking for satisfaction and joy and peace in things other than God. He's looking for it in his money. He's looking for it in his status. He's looking for it in all sorts of things that end up empty for him, which is indicative of how his response is to Jesus. The excitement when Jesus comes to him and Jesus coming into his life transform him in such a way that he sees the emptiness of all the stuff he's been clinging to, when he sees the fullness that comes in a relationship with Christ. So my thought comes into this when I read this. I think to myself, what's Jesus' heart towards me? If I am like the crowd, if I'm like Zacchaeus, what's Jesus' thought towards me? What's his heart towards me? And we see in the passage that he has the same compassion. He has the same love. He has the same, gentleness and care and kindness and acceptance towards me that he does in Zacchaeus, and that he does in these characters and even the crowd. So his work on the cross reveals to me his great love for me. His work on the cross reveals God's love for me. And not only that, it shows to me God's love for people, all sorts of people. And so this week as we go out, let's be a light in this world. Let's be followers of Jesus, not just in word, but in the truest sense, in deed, in extending a hand of grace and love and fellowship to ones who might, for all intents and purposes, by us and even by society standards, be reprehensible. Let's extend a hand of love and understanding towards those types of people and reflect Jesus in our lives. Be who we've been made to be. And we've been made to be that because, like Zacchaeus, God transformed him and he's transformed us as well. So, we'll continue to keep you guys in prayer this week. You'll have a wonderful day, and God bless.